Sorry for the delay. I was looking for, actually, I was looking at my days and everything was kind of crazy last week. Have you ever had those kind of days? I had a very full week. So I was going to just kind of try and scrunch them all up together, but there was too much for that. And so I hope you were continuing and you're reading your Bible. But, anyways, we're in 1 Samuel 20. And it's kind of neat because it's May 20th. Yesterday was my 25th anniversary with my husband, and it was, can't believe that I'm old enough to have a 25-year anniversary, but I should because my family, my children are getting married and doing all kind of adult things. So obviously that's the case. So we're reading 1 Samuel 20, and just to kind of get us up to date again is that we have Jonathan who convinces Saul not to kill David, and then Saul still tries to kill David because he's jealous, and then Samuel is still alive at this point and David runs to him, and Saul is just a wreck. And so now we're in 1 Samuel chapter 20, and this is a rift that keeps growing between David and Saul, and their relationship deepens between Saul's son Jonathan and David as they become pretty much their best friends. They were warriors together, and I'm sure that through that drew them close together, as well as Jonathan knew that David loved the Lord and Jonathan loved the Lord, and that God had him in the time that he did help his father, even through some troubling spirits, through ministering in music, and so Jonathan's trying to help David through his father's murderous intent towards David, and David's got to run. So that's where we're at. 1 Samuel chapter 20. And before we do, ask the Lord to open thou mine eyes, that I may behold wondrous things out of thy law. 1 Samuel 20 says, And David fled from Naioth in Ramah, and came and said before Jonathan, What have I done? What is my iniquity? And what is my sin before thy father, that he seeketh my life? And he said unto him, God forbid, thou shalt not die. Behold, my father will do nothing, either great or small, but he that will show it me. And why should my father hide this thing from me? It is not so. So he has no idea why that his father's after him, other than the obvious. It seems there's some jealousy here. And so verse 2, and he said unto him, God forbid, thou shalt not die. Behold, my father will do nothing, either great or small, but that he will show it me, and I will show my father. Hide this thing from me, if it is not so. Verse 3, and David swore moreover, and said, Thy father certainly knoweth that I have found grace in thine eyes. And he saith, Let not Jonathan know this, lest he be grieved. But truly as the Lord liveth, and as thy soul liveth, there is but a step between me and death. Then said Jonathan and David, Whatsoever thy soul desireth, I will even do it for thee. And David said unto Jonathan, Behold, tomorrow is the new moon, and I should not fail to sit with the king at meat. But let me go, that I may hide myself in the field until the third day at even. If thy father at all miss me, then say, David earnestly asked leave of me, that might run to Bethlehem, his city, for there is a yearly sacrifice there for all the family. So coming up with a plan of escape. So then, if he saith, It is well, thy servant shall have peace, but he be very wroth, then be sure that evil is determined by him. Therefore thou shalt deal kindly with thy servant. For thou hast brought thy servant into a covenant of the Lord with thee, notwithstanding, if thou be in my iniquity, slay me thyself. For thou shouldest thou bring me to thy father. And Jonathan said, Far be it from thee, for if I knew certainly that evil were determined by my father to come upon thee, then would not I tell it to thee? Then said David to Jonathan, Who shall tell me what if the father answereth thee roughly? And Jonathan said unto David, Come and let us go out in the field. And they went out both of them into the field. And Jonathan said unto David, O Lord God of Israel, when I have surrounded my father about tomorrow any time, or the third day, and behold, if there be good toward David, I then send not unto thee, and show it unto thee. Now remember, this is a little insight here, because Saul's furious pursuit of David reminds us of the extent to which evil political and religious leaders in Jesus' day trying to eliminate the true king. They tried to eliminate Jesus, and this is Saul trying to eliminate David. So in verse 13 of 1 Samuel 20, the Lord do so and much more to Jonathan. But if it please my father to do thee evil, then I will show it thee and send thee away, that thou mayest go in peace. And the Lord be with thee, as he hath been with my father. And thou shalt not only while yet I live show me the kindness of the Lord, that I die not. But also thou shalt not cut off thy kindness from the house forever. Know not when the Lord hath cut off the enemies of David, every one from the face of the earth. So Jonathan made a covenant with the house of David, saying, Let the Lord even require it at the hand of David's enemies. And Jonathan caused David to swear again, because he loved him, for he loved him as he loved his own soul. Then Jonathan said to David, Tomorrow is the new moon, and thou shalt be missed, because thy seat will be empty. And when thou hast stayed 3 days, then thou shalt go down quickly and come to the place where thou didst hide thyself when the business was in hand, and shall remain by the stone of Ezel. And I will shoot 3 arrows on the side thereof, as though I shot at a mark. And behold, I will send a lad, saying, Go find out the arrows. If I expressly say unto the lad, Behold, the arrows are on this side of thee, take them. Then come thou, for there is peace to thee, and no hurt, as the Lord liveth. Verse 22. But if I say thus unto the young man, Behold, excuse me. And if thou, let's get back to verse 14. And thou shalt not only while yet I live show me the kindness of the Lord, that I die not. But that also thou shalt not cut off thy kindness from thy house forevermore, not when David the Lord hath cut off the enemies of David, every one that base of the earth. So Jonathan made a covenant with the house of David, saying, Let the Lord even require it at the hand of David's enemies. And Jonathan caused David to swear again, because he loved him, for he loved him as his own soul. Now I know I read that again, but it's good to remind you. Then Jonathan said to David, Tomorrow is the new moon, and thou shalt be missed. And let's skip down to verse 20. And I will shoot 3 arrows on the side thereof, as though I shot at a mark. And behold, I will send a lad, saying, Go find out those arrows. If I expressly say unto the lad, Behold, the arrows are on the side of thee, take them. Then come thou, for there is peace to thee, and no hurt, as the Lord liveth. I keep saying that funny. And but I say thus unto the young man, Behold, the arrows are beyond thee, go thy way, for the Lord hath sent thee away. And as touching the matter which thou and I have spoken of, behold, the Lord between thee and me forever. So David hid himself in the field, and when the new moon was come, and the king sat him down to eat meat, and the king sat upon a seat, and other times even upon a seat by the wall. And Jonathan arose, and Abner sat by the Saul's side, and David's place was empty. Nevertheless, Saul spake not at anything that day, for he thought, Something hath befallen him. He is not clean, surely he is not clean. And it came to pass on the morrow, which was the 2nd day of the month, that David's place was empty. And Saul said unto Jonathan his son, Wherefore cometh not the son of Jesse to meat, neither yesterday nor today? Like, he's missing both days. Where is he? And Jonathan answered Saul, David earnestly asked to leave me to go to Bethlehem. And he said, Let me go, I pray thee, for our family hath a sacrifice in the city. And my brother, he hath commanded me to be there. And now if I found favor in thine eyes, let me get away, I pray thee, and see my brethren. Therefore he cometh not unto the king's table. Then Saul's anger was kindled against Jonathan, and he said unto them, Thou son of the perverse rebellion woman, do not I know that thou hast chosen the son of Jesse to thine own confusion, and unto the confusion of thy mother's nakedness? For as long as the son of Jesse liveth upon the ground, thou shalt not be established, nor thy kingdom. Wherefore now send and fetch unto him, for he shall surely die. And Jonathan answered Saul his father, and said unto him, Wherefore shall he be slain? What hath he done? And Saul cast a javelin at him to smite him, whereby Jonathan knew that it was determined of the Father to slay David. So Jonathan arose from the table in fierce anger, and did eat no meat the 2nd day of the month, for he was grieved for David, because his father had done him shame. And it came to pass in the morning that Jonathan went out into the field at the time appointed with David, and the little lad with him. And he said unto his lad, Run, find now the arrows with which I shoot. And as the lad ran, he shot an arrow beyond him. And when the lad was come to the place of the arrow which Jonathan had shot, Jonathan cried after the lad and said, Is not the arrow beyond thee? And Jonathan cried after the lad, Make speed, haste, stay not. And Jonathan's lad gathered up the arrows and came to his master. But the lad knew not anything, only Jonathan and David knew the matter. And Jonathan gave his artillery unto the lad, and said unto him, Go carry them to the city. And as soon as the lad was gone, David arose at a place toward the south, and fell on his face to the ground, and bowed himself 3 times. And they kissed one another, and wept one another, until David exceeded. And Jonathan said to David, Go in peace, for as much as he sworn both of us in the name of the Lord, saying, The Lord between me and thee, and between my seed and thy seed forever. And he arose and departed, and Jonathan went into the city. So we see in the very beginning here that Saul is still after David, and Jonathan is trying to protect him, and he and David make a covenant between each other. How did Jonathan know that his father was determined to slay David? Well, because he threw a spear at him. So if he was willing to kill his own son, he definitely is willing to kill David. And then in verse 31, Saul was concerned about Jonathan's kingdom being established, but Jonathan cared more about God's will and his friend than he did for a kingdom, because his dad was warning him, like, if David gets the kingdom, you're not going to get the kingdom. But Jonathan knew that God had for David, and was willing to follow in submission. In verse 41, Jonathan and David wept one with another, for they knew that they couldn't be in the same house because Saul was wanting to kill him. So David begins his exile, which was to last about a decade. The man who was anointed king would have to endure people lying about him, trying to kill him. He would have to live life on the run before he would be able to come into the kingdom. Basically, he had to stay alive until it was his time to be in the kingdom. But in 1 Samuel chapter 20, verse 30, and you may have thought, what is he talking about here? Because Saul is angry. And he says, Thou son of the perverse, rebellious woman, do I not know that thou hast chosen the son of Jesse, thine own confusion and confusion of thy mother's nakedness? That sounds kind of weird, but basically he's insulting him because he spoke it in public, and it was a really like a bitter insult. He was trying to call out Jonathan in a nasty way by speaking contempt of his mother, and saying that he was shameful, causing confusion within their household. And he did it in front of everyone. And of course, a mother's nakedness would be shameful. So he's putting this parallel, in a sense, not that his mom was naked, but how shameful it was that Jonathan was doing this. And having brought such a son into the world. This is a very shameful insult. And he's just really trying to hit him as hard as he can to cause him to break. But what we see is Jonathan doesn't break. He still follows the will of God. So Psalm 24 is our psalm today. And after we read that, I'm going to be getting ready to head up to the church. And for those of you that will be at church, I look forward to seeing you today. Psalm 24. The earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof, the world, and they that dwell therein. For he hath founded it upon the seas, and established it upon the floods. Who shall ascend in the hill of the Lord, and who shall stand in his holy place? He that hath clean hands and a pure heart, who hath not lifted up his own soul unto the vanity, nor sworn deceitfully. He shall receive the blessing from the Lord, and righteousness from the God of his salvation. This is the generation of them that seek him, that seek thy face, O Jacob, Selah. Lift up your heads, O ye gates, and be ye lifted up, ye everlasting doors. The King of glory shall come in. Who is this King of glory? The Lord strong and mighty, the Lord mighty in battle. Lift up your heads, O you gates, even lift them up, ye everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in. Who is this King of glory? The Lord of hosts. He is the King of glory, Selah. Have a good rest of your evening, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.